I guess I'm live. This is Gabor. Okay, I'm going to read poetry in English. Actually, the first five poems going to be in Hungarian and in English, or in English in Hungarian, from this book, The Hermit Has No Plural, came out in the States. Okay. In vain. With my previously convicted left hand, I'm looking for my father and my mother in my pocket. I drag them out and put them into my other pocket, but they fall back. They don't like the climate. In Hungarian. Rovatmúltú balkezemmel keresem a zsebemben apám és anyám, előveszem és beteszem a másikba őket, de visszahullanak, bírják ezt a klímát. Na, megnézzük, hogy oké, úgy látszik minden oké, so everything is fine. That was my first poem. The second one is about to decide. You can leave me a message too, a comment. Here I can see it. Not on Messenger, but on this page here. I'm going to share this on my other page, so my timeline, so people can see it. All right, that's done. About to decide. Through the interfacial hair-tiny crack of the locked train window, blown in snow pellets freeze an iced relief on the windowsill. The rushing train scares a heron away from the iced sedge marsh along the tracks. A raven chases off a pair of turtle doves from a pine tree bough to see the tracks drilling through the woods. A pine needle punctures the snow and suffocates in an ice sheath. A magpie is watching all these. The bird is still at home. It wouldn't want to go where the sky is not the same. Okay, the same in Hungarian. Magyarul. Az elhatározás kezdete. Hajszál. A zárt vonatablak érintkező hajszárnyi résén át az utas fülkébe jégdaraként fúvódó hó hideg permettel fagyaszt domborművet az ablakperemre. A száguldó vonat a vágánymenti nádas jegéről elriaszt egy kócsagot. Varjú üzel egy vadgalambárt, hogy a fenyőágról belássa az erdőt áttörő síneket. Fenyőtű veti magát a hóba, és jéghüvelybe full. Egy szarka nézi mindezt. Még itthon van. Nem kíván menni oda, ahol más az ég. The third poem, The Noontide and the Chemist. The funnel of a once-to-come quizzical noontide edged itself to the long-colored branches of ancient trees. A subtle chemist surprised the seashore crowd by burning himself and becoming the subject of his own chemistry as he was washed away. The residue didn't register anywhere. Only a saw-toothed shadow of a scapula was seen later under a sinister cliffside. Ugyanez magyarul. A déli dagály és a kémikus. A periódikusan visszatérő, kötekedő déli dagály tölcsére az ősi fák tüdőszín lombjai közé ékelődött. Az éleseszű kémikus meglepte a tengerparti tömeget, elégette magát, és saját tudományának tárgyává változott, miközben elmosta a visszavonuló áradat. Maradványait mindváig nem vetette partra a tenger, az idő múlásával csak egy lapockacsont fűrészfogó árnya vált láthatóvá a fenyegető parti sziklák alatt. Következő, next poem is Cemetery at River Savannah. Leaning to the oyster brick fence, watching as ants order ants to labor, you seem to perceive whips in their forearms. You won't talk about the place you visited in your dream to anyone. With pre-written answers, you ignore the questioners. You smooth your forehead. The peeling of your skin is wind-blown dust. Under the moonless sky, your shadow walks the sun to the other side. Magyarul, in Hungarian, temető a szavanna folyónál. Osztrigakagylóból épült kerítésnek támaszkodsz, nézed, amint a temető füvetlen részén hangya dolgoztat hangyát. Látni véled melső lábai között a lótető karmaiból készült ostort. Nem mutatod meg senkinek ezt az álmodban látott helyet, előre megírt válaszokkal veszed a kérdezőt semmibe. Végig simított homlokod, hámló bőröd, szél mozgatta por. A holtalan ég alól árnyékod elkíséri a napot a folyó másik oldalára. This is the last one I read in both languages. The rest are going to be in English tonight. Chairs. These chairs should be rearranged, she said. Who would do that? I said. You, came her answer. As she sat, I moved the other chair close to hers. Székek. Át kellene rendezni a székeket, szólt a lány. Ki rendezze át, kérdeztem. Te, válaszolt, és leült. Széke mellé helyeztem székemet. Okay, so the rest is all in English from this book. A Hermit Has No Plural. It's published in 2015 by Singing Bone Press in the United States of America. Happy holidays, everyone, or whatever. It's nice Hungarian white, dry white. Okay. Abide. Abide. Abide to jaywalk through this cut of street, where around the corner assigned agents hunker in the mist, judging your move, incongruous in their inner boredom. You ignore the zealous civil servants, fooling them by flying above the lanes, with your cloud-stretching wings dismissing their concerns. You cross over, landing in the center of this privately owned neighborhood, paying a visit to no one specific. I'm not here, you only imagine me. I need enough hooks to hang my words on. I'm hospitable to fleas, and once, when the air was caged, I was an untasted fruit. Now I carry false papers to cross borders with the one I used to laugh with. I can hardly keep up with her slowness. The paper contained words that used to be constipated. Only the shadow of snow was able to perceive what they held inside. Acquisitions, gallivanting, consignment, humidity, acceleration, reception, or a wish that whatever you hoped to turn around was going to turn around. The poison on your fingertips seeps into me, around the corner, waiting for the wind to take us further away on its own accord. Path. As a vibrant leaf fallen from a storm-beaten tree, the wind rolls me into mold. Above the grand ants, below worms, turn me into gold. The next one. If someone would wonder, I wrote this in English, so these poems. Forge or subdue. A man of deception drove a red car stolen from a white-hearted garage across the neighborhood of perpetual music, turned the street corner that vaguely resembled a Middle Eastern hell where he had spent years in an area sanctuary, sneezing purposely to achieve separation from the goggle-eyed alliance of poisonous, covertly intelligent servicemen of his own country. Now again, he unwillingly crossed the line of sludge sentiment he wished to eliminate from the archives of his system, and deciphered that he hated those who wanted to have him and hated those who were not interested in having him. After arriving to silence, he sat down on an unfamiliar stoop and dreamed of a piece of water jewelry that a daughter of a pearl diver wore around her neck. Whose face it is? The mirror shows a different picture every day. The flame shooting out from the fireplace is counting the new arrivals. The flame of the candle says goodbye to those who are going away. Anticipation gathers inside. A butterfly with spread wings lies on the burning rocky floor. Paint rolls off the wall. The house rises up for the fresh-faced wind to fly it to another place. It cares not. A cigarette smoulders with you together. The wind comes in to fetch the smoke, looks around, what else there is to take, but rather it sniffs, shows a grimace, tears of a piece of paper bag, tips over a plastic cup, hits you in the face, pushes the curtain to the side, and slams the window after leaving you behind. That is your own. During tailwind, the headwind pushes you back. Only the motion remains. Your body is searching for the gap. Your eyes are already behind the wind. The weight of nothing in your head is a pawn pressed in the corner. You won't meet him ever. But what's waiting, that is your own. The next one. It has nothing to do with In Memoriam Ira Cohen, the great American poet, photographer, electronic multimedia shaman. Say farewell to all the previous notions. Walk among sleeping crocodiles towards the center of colors, notwithstanding the magnetism of mysteries, below the crowds of nothing, under the skies of unnamed entities, along the chords of the infinite circle, with silent lips, with goggled eyes, with storming calmness inside your skull, your defenseless cells lead your invisible steps across the forbidden zone. Yellow fog feeds your leftover body. Script. Chairs never place themselves in order. We sit statue erect. There are no gladiolas in the vase, no wine, no beer bottles on the table, yet plenty of cigarette smoke. Separately, searching for the gaps, we all drink liqueur. Stand carefully up, step out to the garden. The mosquito net door is ajar. The wicker chairs squeak after us when we jump the railing above the gate. Stumble on the dirt road through waist-high grassland, crushing weeds, flowers, not bowing to branches, tearing bushes to pieces, towards the river. If we are not fortunate, we'll get across safely. Okay, I hope you have a drink on your own there. Stuck in an elevator. Have you ever stuck in an elevator? Well, I have. I guess many of us did. 2 pages remained empty by accident. Nocturnal faces change, vanity chimes, endangered species live on streets with no name, along naked trees, houses with no furnace, no chimney. Suicide works unintentionally. It's all the sign of the brain's equilibrium. While a destitute French beauty smiles before praying and goes to live approvingly, as soon as she exists, she becomes part of the crowd. Initial cut on the abdomen. Oh, darling. The gum is swollen in the mouth. Optical green wire stretches from the ankle up to the skinless hip. It's quiet now. Enviable death. Vestibules without banisters are as safe as watches that tumble on the ground, tick-tocking on. An instant heart failure is as deadly as an instant heart failure, as the trap we erect for ourselves, as a whole dog by sorrow. A whole dog by sorrow feels up. Okay, I'm not going to read this. I don't like that picture. Sorry. Plus sign. Okay, the snake is back. That's the next part. Crestfallen serpent carries her poison, wrenching, lingering around the fair church, stealing priest's dream. The priests are carelessly holding white gloves and umbrellas. Their bare feet flash as they prowl, not thinking, while crossing over to curiously stare at lately acquired pictures of locals who would never return to pursue their fate, to persuade each other for a simple substance which hasn't remained here, only vague attacks, abrupt feints, and peremptory sacrifices. No rain has fallen, no cold air arrived. The snake empties her poison in the holy water with paradisal calmness. Through doors, windows she returns and coils up on her high chair. She is the doctor of nonsensical illusions, guarding the antidote. Vanity chimes in vain. I have a hole in my forehead. Ants dug out the socket, crawled inside, created a den for their coquette. Before I drove them out, no need for ants to sit by. I thanked them for finding my third eye. Returning a broken keyboard. Silver dirty snow spots scattered around the peaks of the mountains. Clear water rain washed the smudged snow down to the river's throat. The wash-off entered the organic system, flew through the pipes, the bowels, some particles oozed inside the vessels, glued themselves to the walls of all the hiding organs. The rest run through the programs of metabolism, to be coughed up by the river's mouth, and what remained of the muddied snow was spurted out to unsalt the sea. Rendering the view. Someone parted the curtains to have a look at the stereoscopic world and got crazed immediately via suggested attitude of an offspring of a numberless laboratory who is setting in thermal dust. This fact is a wild profusion, and an occasional confirmation. It is not the saturation of a Persian turban during the annual ball of the victims. It is the symptom, a flack, geographic carnage. The entity who is running all these is swimming in your hand. Yeah, we'll see what's going on here. Transparent ink stains the dirty rind. Transparent ink stains the dirty rind of the resin hat of a man standing by the train's window in a land where the air is not yet futile, back in the last times, when hand-rolled cigarette smoke blew out of the fissures of wooden-wheeled carriages. The man inhales deep, keeps the smoke down, exhales. The smoke shivers, mingles with the air. When an escaped piece of breeze hits the man's face, he feels fear gathering in his mouth. Okay, the next poem is with St. Louis and Brooklyn. I arrived to the States in 1988 to St. Louis, and then I discovered a few Welsh bars there. And whenever I can go back and visit St. Louis. I have some good friends there. The shadow and the trigger. The ventilator relentlessly spun above the bar. The edge of its blade looked like desperately escaping hungry wings of a bat. That's what he saw while sipping his beer in Dressel's, his favorite St. Louis bar, in the wooden frame mirror hanging on the opposite wall. His plane just flew in from Brooklyn. He slept until the end of the flight, when he began following the plane's shadow with his eyes, a small dot crossing over well-tended fields below. While landing, he watched the shadow grow bigger, mightier while approaching the plane. And when the throbbing silver machine hit the ground, the shadow joined it, silently, comfortingly, the way a finger joins a trigger. What is still hiding there? In the very center of a compound, in an immediate connection, I crack apertures one after another, until I reach one side of it. Here, the wall is thicker, practically impervious, uniting from nothing. I can only peek out through the imperceptible tiny rift to see what is still hiding there. At the airport. You had no tears, but glued a half smile on your face, kept yourself busy with this and that, stared at my suitcase when you found nothing else around to touch but me. This yellow raglan sleeve coat looks good on you, I said, instead of saying, I'll be back. You took your coat off and put it in your bag. Fly. A sad bird froze to the neighbor's windshield. Its snow-stuffed body, hail-picking beak, and sickle-tipped claws shattered the safety glass into non-recyclable trash. The swearing neighbor grabbed the ice-wing carcass, broke it in half, gathered the pieces, and threw them up to the winter air. Fly, he screamed. Fly, he screamed, raging cold-blooded at the scene of the scheme, not seeing, as the two half birds came to life, rose to fall, one-winged, wedged into his reddening eyes. Must have been painful. Chrysalis. I don't really write long poems. This is a longer one. Not that long, don't worry. A diabolically consolidated wasp nest with a woman as its resilient keeper was found in the same woman's vertebrae during autopsy. The coroner seemed pathetic as he turgidly drew his initials on the side of the nest in the rancid spine line to ensure his first right to this bouncing discovery. The woman's puffed-up face showed aversion regarding the intrusion into her cagey body. She was inclined to diminish the coroner's derogatory invasion, for she had been nurturing these ferocious inhabitants of her nest with complimentary attention, with utter persuasion, to let them maintain their own proliferation by overlooking flowers in dewy cemeteries, jiving tactile gravediggers as the primary goal of existence. Now, at present, the woman's bony shell is laid out in the morgue, with the abandoned nest inside her waiting for the final taxidermy. I hope you don't mind my accent. Well, I do have it, and there are some words that trick me really well. While you were around, from Michael Castro, a great poet from St. Louis, a very good friend, and he was my co-translator, translating Hungarian poetry to English. The morning wind swallowed your words, aimed at me on the top of Monk's Mound. Your escaping thoughts were stammered into my ears by a gesticulating Chinese man later that afternoon, in the midst of rush hour traffic, substituting an invisible powwow in front of the Vietnamese fish stall on Olive Boulevard in St. Louis. Upon the arrival of your words, I looked inside the man's eyes. I looked inside the man's eyes to disappear behind his iris. Tale. Actually, this tale was told me by Jim Northrup, and a Jim poet, storyteller, columnist, a great man. Okay. Tale. An old Ojibwa, the grandfather of numerous children, walks the land that was assigned to his tribe every day. He follows the paths of animals, watches the wide rise to ear in the lake, the wing strikes of the birds, strokes the crust of the maple, spares valley at night, hunts moose in the woods, rests in his sweat lodge. One day, in a shallow crevice, he found a nugget streaked with gold. He walked it to the depth of the woods and dug a hole for it. Totem. The skyscrapers in the streets named after native tribes are not occupied by orchid hunters, rather by alpine window cleaners and security officers who became the 12 intervals of the scale. Occasionally, the breathing of invisible Indian people is heard, and their scent of earth can be sensed in the cities. Adjustment to the environment. It's hot. I drink a shot to become hotter. I don't feel like drinking tea. It's said that in Asia during the hot season people drink hot liquid to adjust their bodies to the outside temperature. It's not my reason. I want to burn from inside, not to decompose, but to be absorbed, to disappear with no trace. Simply, inconspicuously. But only my stomach turns itself on. When I sit on the loo, my nose is always running. My system draws a parallel between two actions. Hot shower, another shot, and out to the heat. The shadow has already lost its function. Lust. Disease flies copulate on my pastry. Greeks. Gone. The Greeks, you say, stone willow, pebble weeps, rock cradle, erect column, time is rain. That what? I'm a sheet of metal on edge, carouser scream, derailed train, thrown away letter, or only a figure, a door slam, boiled over milk, bent spine, dry riverbed, and not that. Other people's images. Staggering, flashing sirens cut your thoughts in half. The zipper broke on your leotard, revealing virgin fingertips. The blood ran out of them when they were severed from your hands. Now they are displayed in a second-hand gallery for everyone's view. The TV is running in the closet behind drawn curtains, entertaining ants, roaches, and a cat whose tail was chopped off by a slammed door. The toilet bowl is clogged up with carelessly devoured nourishment. Torn family photos soak in the bathtub's rusty water. Your eyes are someone mirror across the ocean. Your face is a lost article in my brain. Your thighs are a dream of runaway teenagers. Your nipples are in your own mouth. Your knees are touching the parquet. Shots of bourbon rumble through your heart. Smoke gathers in your lungs. Stretched out arms of a yesterday paper covered body grab your legs, saving you from stepping on quicksand. Rag dolls embrace your lips. Rag dolls embrace your hips. It's a jerking pleasure. It's the coldest time of the night. A naked kiss lands on your lips. I enter your mind and live in your head. Okay. All right. Sorry. Blade in fashion. Wearing a transparent gown, she crossed the threshold approaching the guillotine, with shorn hair, with red scarf round her neck, with an easy walk. She passed the executioner, stepped off the podium, leaving bloody footsteps on the cobblestone of the octagonal square, sunk into the steaming clouds of the mob's perspiration, making her entrance in the carnage of the 21st century. Okay, I have a few more from this book, and then I go over to Attila József. Erasable street sign. I brushed the palm against the silver cigarette case. It bent. It curved, feeling the touch, a hollow measure. A pebble tumbled out of a corner to find the rain. Like my mother, who prays everywhere to save her son, to find his lost notebook, just to lose it again around. Forgery. A dead man was kept in ice for over a year because of lack of funding by a lazy host. His eyes want to sleep, but the head is no pillow. Pyramidal structures built from boxes packed with olives are scattered around the cemetery. A film rose by the architects. A goat instinctively grazes particles at the gas station nearby. The dead man lost his spurs riding a wooden horse while he was still alive. His coffin is being used by someone else. Reflection of the dark. There was a blue carrot. There was a blue carrot on the Savoy, like a fish or the shadow of a ring. The room was full of mosquitoes. Are you still alive? Asked Emperor Caracalla. I forgot to smile. Took some steps slightly. It was dark in the streets. God closed his eyes. He looked like a jovial tiger as he spread his sickness on earth. I don't say anything. I'm only listening to your silence. I dreamt that an elephant stole my nickname. The room darkened as well. Years passed away. Where they disappeared, I don't know. Someone knocked on the door, opened it. More darkness. When they found me dead on Duke Ellington Boulevard, which is 106th Street in Manhattan. When they found me dead, I was waiting for the angels of heaven and hell to take my soul to wherever they wished to store it. They didn't come. Only an NYPD cop and a coroner came, leaning casually above me. I grabbed the two men, freed their souls. Their limp bodies calmly fell upon me. Okay, and the last one from this book, just a reminder. Hermit has no plural. Poems by yours truly, Gabor. Snail on Ice. That was the second poem I ever written in my life. I was in a very cold place, trust me. In a cold room, in a cold bed, under a cold blanket, the body is cold, the light is cold, the night is cold, the moon is cold, the grass and the tree are cold, the earth is cold, its smell is cold, the sun is cold, the breath is cold under the cold water, the sky is cold, the cloud is cold, the flashlight is cold, the meat is cold in the cold soup, the girl is cold, the desire is cold, the word flags, cold wedged beneath the stone. The blood is cold, the mind is cold, the music is cold, the picture is cold, the hieroglyph is cold, the hot tea is cold. The flower is cold, the bird is cold, the bee is cold, the mayfly is cold. In the cold, cold sculpture stop movement, the sweltering heat is cold, the time is cold, the brain is cold, the beggar is cold, his eyes are cold, cold running through my throat, my lungs are cold and tremble, my legs are cold and I can't go. In the cold, I stand lying or I lie standing, I don't know, in the cold, everything is. Okay, still have a few minutes. This is a Transparent Lion by Attila József. Green Integer used to be Sun and Moon Press, translated by Michael Castro and myself. And first I'm going to read. Well, Attila József. Oh man, he's considered one of the greatest poets in Hungary. He was born in 1905 and died in 1937. This is a pretty good book, I think. There are some other translations available in English. Rebellious Christ. You, O Lord, do not be goodness. Do not be anything else but the righteous Lord. Give us more bread, but don't let the rose vanish. Or don't just stay in your old cosmos place. Come out, see what your servant is doing. Your life cloak wouldn't be washed down to wrecks by men's curses. It was easy for you to break the thorn off with your hand. You could still learn from me, my lord. I break it and I won't have supper, only a furlong of land. Yet I'm maintaining your land. And I'm already one huge aching spine. I bent down too much. Don't tell me now that I misunderstood. Long as I'm able to my duty I'm bound, though nettle-stung bruises sit on my palm, and if a storm comes, like a decaying tree, I'll stand my ground. But loan me your cloak against the wind's blast. Curse and rain cannot reach you. You own a nice, noble place, and your legs run fast. In my work you don't pay me well at all. My bed is cold against my body. Earth has transmuted your golden words into hollow grass metal. And in my work, Lord, I'm worth as much as you might. In your great passion, be, and my soul will be part of you soon, splinking the most beautiful light. It will become your eyes that see everything down here where it's hard. What I'm saying is, you don't even have eyes yet. You can't see now. I wish you'd become a righteous God. Like a tired beast, his soul and body shiver. Partners not getting much done laugh at him and he stiffens because he knows evening falls on him sooner. From his huge worn-out soul the words upward are wrung, and he hangs up his pale faded heart out like a hangman his voracious grey tongue. It was written in 1923. I might go back to the seventh one. Once you set foot on this earth, your mother gives you 7 births. Once in a blazing house of fire, once in an icy flood's cold mire, once inside a loony bin, once amidst waving weeds so thin, once in cloister's hollow eye, once among pigs in the sty. All 6 cry, it's not enough, son. Be yourself the 7th one. If an enemy stands before you, have 7 men who stand up for you. One who begins his day at leisure, one who works his daily measure, one who teaches gratis at his whim, one who is thrown in the water to swim, one who is the seed of the forest growth of years, one who is protected by his ancestors' tears. But ruse or reproach won't get it done. Be yourself the 7th one. If you'd go looking for a lover, have 7 men try to find her. One who for her word gives up his heart, one who pays for his own part, one who pretends to be a dreamer, one who gropes a skirt to get her, one who knows where her hooks can be found, one who steps on her hanky on the ground. They all buzz like flies round carrion. Be yourself the 7th one. If you could afford to compile a tome, have 7 men compose this poem. One who builds a marble town, one born asleep, his eyelids down, one who charts the sky and knows it well, one whose words can cast a spell, one who sells his soul trying to thrive, one who carves up a rat while it's alive. 2 are brave and 4 are wise, son. Be yourself, the 7th one. And if all this happened, as was written, go to the grave as if you were all 7. One who rocks on a milky chest, one who grasps at dry hard breasts, one who tosses away empty pence, one who lends the poor his helping hands, one who works like a man possessed, one who stares at the moon obsessed. You are already on the ground, my son. Be yourself the 7th one. Tongue twister, definitely. Okay. Ode. I'm sitting here on a shimmering precipice. The light breeze on the young summer like the warmth of cherry supper flies. I make my heart get used to the silence. It's not that hard. What glided away now swarms over here. The head bends over and the hand dangles. I watch the mane of the mountains. The light of your forehead sparkled by every leaf. No one is on the road. No one. I see how the wind flutters your skirt. And below the fragile hills I see your hair inclining forward, and your soft breast startling. And while the silver creek runs away, behold, I see again how the fairy laughter springs on those round white stones, your teeth. Oh, how much I love you. You who opened the universe and the cunning loneliness in the deepest cavern of your heart. You who part from me like the waterfall from its own rumble and softly run away, while among the peaks of my life, near in the distance, I thunder, I scream, struggling between the earth and the firmament, that I love you, you sweet stepmother. I love you like a child loves his mother, like the taciturn caves their depth. I love you like enclosures love the light, like the soul loves flame, like the body loves calm. I love you the way mortals love to live until they die. I guard your every smile, motion, and word, like the grand guards fallen objects. I etched you into my mind, like acid burns metal. I burnt you in with my instinct, you dear, beautiful image. There your being fulfills every essence. The moments march away rattling, but you sit silently in my ears. Stars ignite and fall down, but you stand motionless in my eyes. Your taste, like silence in the cave, floats chilled in my mouth. As with your finger round the water glass, delicate veins appear luminously on your hand. Oh, so what kind of matter am I, that your glance carves and shapes? What kind of spirit and light, a vision worthy of amazement, that I can wander through the haze of nothingness over your lush body's gentle slopes? And as the verb enters into an opening mind, I'm allowed to descend into its mysteries. The blood vessels like rose bushes endlessly throbbing, they carry the eternal current to reveal love upon your face, to flesh out the blessed fruit of your womb. Through the sensitive gland of your stomach, many tiny roots embroider their tender yarn. Weave it into knots, loosen it. The cells of your nectars collect their many legions, and the beautiful shrubs of your leafy lungs whisper their own glory. Eternal matter happily flows inside you in the tunnels of the bowels, and the excrement gains a rich vitality in the wells of fervent kidneys. Waving hills emerge, constellations pulsate inside you, lakes breathe, factories work, millions of living animals bustle around, bugs, seaweed, barbarity and goodness. The sun shines, darkening northern light glooms in your substance, says the unconscious eternity wonders. Like clotted scraps of blood, these words flow before you. Existence stammers, only the low is in clear speech. Yet my diligent organs, born again day by day, are preparing to become silent. But until then, they all shout. You who were chosen from the crowd of 2,000 million, you are the only one, you tender cradle, strong grave, living bed. Allow me inside you. How high is the morning sky at dawn? Armies sparkle in their armors. This great radiance hurts my eyes. I'm lost, I think. I can hear my heart clatter and beat above me. Collateral song. A train takes me, I go after you. Perhaps today I will find you too. Perhaps my blazing face will calm. Perhaps softly your words will come. The bath is warm, get in the water. Use the towel to get dry. Meat is frying, ease your hunger. Hunger, your bed is right here where I lie. Okay, let's see if this will fit in. Consciousness. Down unties the sky from the world, and from her pure soft voice the bucks, the children, swirl out to the sunshine. There is no mist in there, and shimmery lightness flutter. The leaves are tiny butterflies that flew upon the trees during the night. I saw blue, red, yellow dot pictures in my dream, and I felt this is order. Not a speck of dust messed them up. Now my dream circulates through my limbs like twilight, and the iron world is the order. The moon wakes the day in me, and if night arrives, the sun shines. The sun shines inside. I'm skinny. I eat bread sometimes among these shallow girls' souls. I'm searching without pay for more certainty than in the roll of dice. Lush meat doesn't caress my mouth, nor does any child my heart. Even a smart cat can catch mice inside and outside at the same time. Like a pile of chopped wood, the world sprawls one piece on top of another. Each grips, presses, holds one thing onto another, and thus everyone is determined. What doesn't exist possesses a bush. What doesn't exist possesses a bush. What will be is the flower. What exists falls into pieces. Let me do that again. What doesn't exist possesses a bush. What will be is the flower. What exists falls into pieces. At the freight train station, I lay flat beside the tree's trunk like a piece of silence. Grey weeds touched my mouth, raw, weirdly sweet. Deadly still, I watched the guard, intent on his senses, and his shadow in the silent wagons jumping stubbornly over the dewy coal. So suffering is here inside, but out here, out there is the explanation. Your wound is the world, burns, fire, and you feel the fever in your soul. You're a prisoner till your heart rebels. You'll be free if, for your pleasure, you won't build the kind of house that the landlord takes over. From under the evening, I looked up into the cogwheels of the sky. The loom of the past was weaving a law out of threads of glittering accident. Again, through the haze of my dream, I looked up to the sky and I saw the seam of the law kept coming, unraveled all over. Silence was listening. A clock struck. You should visit your youth. There among dump cement block walls you can imagine a little bit of freedom, I thought. And as I'm standing up, the stars, the Big Dipper, sparkle the way bars shine above a silent prison cell. I heard the iron crying, I heard the rain laughing, I saw how the past split apart and how only illusions can be forgotten. But how I know nothing but to love bending under my burdens. Why, what must we construct weapons from you, golden consciousness? The adult man is he who has no mother and father in his heart, who knows that life is something extra, thrown in beside death, and like a found object, anytime it can be given back. That's why he treasures it. He who is neither God nor priest, neither for himself nor to anyone. I did see happiness once. It was tender, blonde, and must have weighed 400 pounds. Its curly smile tottered on the rigorous grass of the farmyard. It plunked down in a soft, lukewarm puddle. It winked, grunted in my direction. I still see how waveringly the light fumbled among its ringlets. I lived by the tracks. Lots of trains come and go, and I watch how the shiny windows fly by in the powdery darkness. This is how the lit up days speed through the eternal night. I'm standing in every cabin light, leaning on my elbow in silence. Okay, that was Attila József, Transparent Lion. It's available somewhere. The publisher has it green integer. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I hope it went well. Sorry for the whiskers. I dreamt that uh, Santa is going to bring me some razor blades for Christmas. So I'm waiting for that. I'm gonna shave that. Okay. Take care.